All right, good morning, guys. This is section 7.1. These are going to be the first part of your notes. In this first part, we're going to talk about graphing exponential functions, and then we're also going to talk about, is it growth or decay? And then the last part is, are we going to be able to find the y-intercept? So there's essentially three things in this video we're going to look at. Okay, so let's talk about what an exponential function is, and you'll see it here as I go through this first part, and follow along with me here. An exponential function is a function where you see y equals a times b to the x, and I've written it in big letters over here. The biggest thing that you have to understand is now that variable, guys, is in the exponent, and we haven't had a variable in the exponent before. So now we're going to have to be able to graph and find y-intercepts and be able to evaluate things with things in the exponent. A couple things about what these are going to look like, okay? There's two types of exponential functions, essentially. You have growth or you have decay, and if you look here, these are going to be really easy to see. You'll notice as we graph these and we go through these, you're going to see exponential growth. You see the blue one here, okay? You'll notice that it's getting, it's from left to right. As you're going along, you're getting taller, and all of a sudden it just shoots up really, really fast. Exponential growth or exponential decay is something that happens extremely fast. So you're either going to be going up really quickly or you're going to be going down really quickly. So kind of easiest ways to think of it is you're either going, in this case, exponential growth, you're on the roller coaster, and this is the first part. You're going to start and you're going to go up to the top. Okay, it's going to get you up to the top, but it's going to take you up really steep. And then exponential decay is now all of a sudden you're up to the top and now you're coming down. And notice how fast you're coming down, and then you level yourself out. Okay, so the first part I'm going to talk about is, okay, how do we graph these things? So let's take a look at this first graph right here. And we have the graph y equals 2 to the x power. Now, there is no shortcuts to graphing these things like these other ones that we've had. So essentially what we're going to do every time is we are going to create an XY chart. And we're going to put in the 5 easiest numbers that we can find. And so with these 5 easiest numbers, we're going to put in always -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2 for x. Okay? And a lot of this is going to be on your calculator. So you're going to have to be able to know how to put this on the calculator. So what I'm going to do down here is I'm going to put in here, we're going to put in 2, we got to find 2 to the -2nd power. Well, on your calculator, you're going to type in the number 2. Then you're going to find what we call the caret key. It looks like a little up arrow like so. And then you're going to hit the little negative sign with parentheses around it, and then type in a 2. And you should get 0.25. Now, I understand that's a decimal. That's going to be a little hard to graph. Yes, you're going to guesstimate on some of these spots. Okay, so when I put in -1, we want to find 2 to the -1st power. Okay, so I'm putting -1 for x, and when I do that on the calculator, I get 0.5. When I put 0 in for the calculator, so I'm finding 2 to the 0 power. Well, anything to the 0 power, that's easy, that's 1. Okay, 2 to the 1st power is then 2, and 2 to the 2nd power is then 4. Okay, so we're always going to put in -2 to +2, and now I'm going to graph these 5 points essentially. So -2.25, I'm going to go, as you see here, I'm going to go left 2 units and I'm going to go up 0.25. And again, this isn't going to be perfect, but it's going to be a pretty good guesstimate, about right in there. Then I'm going to go left 1 and I'm going to go up a half, like so. And I'm going to go 0 and I'm going to go up 1, like so. And then I'm going to go right 1, up 2. And then I'm going to go right 2 and I'm going to go up 4. And you'll notice that this is starting to get taller, higher, faster as we go along. And then all I'm going to do is graph like so, goes along the x-axis. And then it's going to come up like so. And just continue to get higher and higher and higher. So this is an example of your very first exponential function. Y equals 2 to the x power. Notice, if we were to look here, is this growth or is this decay? Well, how do you tell from the graph? Well, from the graph, you're either going to be going up or you're going to be going down. In this case, you're going up, so this is growth. in this case. And I'm going to explain another way to find how to figure out whether it's growth or decay. Okay, on this problem, this one's a little bit different because you now have a number in there for A. Before you didn't have an A value. So now, again, we're going to put in XY chart, and I'm going to put in -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And again, on my calculator, as I go through this, I'm going to type this exactly in. So I'm going to type in 2, then hit the times key, then I'm going to hit the 3, and I'm going to hit the caret key like so, and then I'm going to type in the negative and then a 2, and that's going to give me my number. So on my calculator, I type this in, and I get 0.22 as my number. Okay, I'm going to type in -1. And when I type that in, I get 0.67. I'm going to put in 0. 3 to the 0 power is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. I'm going to put in 1. Same thing in the calculator. 2 times 3 to the first power. Well, that happens to be 6. And then I'm going to type in 2 times 3 to the second power. Well, 3 to the second power is 9 times 2 is 18. Now, you're going to get this case in some of these problems. And in some of these problems, you won't graph. I'm not going to graph the ordered pair 218. It's not in my graph. I'm not going to fit it in. It's not going to work out. Okay, so now I graph -2. I go left 2. I go up 0.22, about right in there. I'm going to go left 1, up 0.67. Try and get up about 2/3 of the way. The ordered pair 0 and 2, like so. And then the ordered pair right 1, and I'm going to go up 6. And you notice how this one's climbing a lot faster now. Okay. And again, this number right here is going to come along the x-axis for right now, and then you're going to go up, and you're going to eventually get yourself really big, really fast. Okay? So hopefully you should be able to graph. Every single graph you're going to do, you're going to put in those 5 ordered pairs, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay? All right, let's go down and let's talk about how do we determine from an equation if it is growth or decay. All right, so from an equation, if it's growth or decay, here's our equation, y equals a times b to the x power. A is going to be bigger than 0 no matter what. Okay, A is going to be a number bigger than 0. It's the b number that we're looking at that's going to determine growth or decay. If b is bigger than 1, it's going to be growth. So if b is a number that's bigger than 1, it's going to be growth. If b is between 0 and 1, in other words, it's a decimal or a fraction. Okay, if b is between 0 and 1, then that's going to show us that it is decay. So again, one more time, if b is bigger than 1, it's growth. If b is between 0 and 1, it's decay. So let's take a look here and let's find out. Identify each of these from this example. Okay, we're going to tell me is it growth or decay, and then we're going to find the y-intercept. I'll talk about the y-intercept here in a second. Remember our equation, y equals a times b to the x power. We're looking at the b number. So in this case, this is b right here. Okay, the 0.95. Is that number bigger than 1 or smaller than 1? Well, that number is between 0 and 1. So in this case, this is what we call decay. It's going to be getting smaller. Again, looking at letter B, looking at the number 2. Is that number bigger than 1 or smaller than 1? Well, that number is bigger than 1. This guy is going to be growth. Okay. Now, how do we find the y-intercept? To find the y-intercept, we set x equal to 0, and then we solve for y. Okay, so in the first problem up here, I've got y equals 12 times 0.95 to the x power. Well, I want to put 0 in for x. That's 12 times 0.95 to the 0 power. Wait, anything to the 0 power is 1. So this is really 12 times 1. So the y-intercept is 12. The ordered pair x is 0 and y is 12. So all you're going to do is put in 0 for x, solve for y to find the y-intercept. On the second one, y equals 0.25 times 2 to the 0 power. 2 to the 0 power is 1. Well, 0.25 times 1 is 0.25. So the y-intercept here is 0 and 0.25. Okay? So on the first part of your practice problems, you're going to have to be able to graph exponential growth and decay. Again, we're putting in -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And then you have to be able to look at an equation, tell me is it growth or decay, and find the y-intercept. Okay, make sure you watch the second part of the notes, part 2. That's going to explain how to do the story problems.